everybody, and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well and I hope you've had a lovely week. So I start this video in my daughter's room, having a clear out and having a sort out, and actually that's exactly where I've come down from. I've just now done stories, but before I did stories, I went around the room and got loads of random bits and pieces and said, do you want this? You don't want this, do you? You don't want this, do you? You don't want this, do you? And got rid of loads of things. So I've got some more things for the sale and more things for the charity shop. And we went to the charity shop today. We had two massive great black bin bags full of things, and then mugs and glasses, which I can't use for my Girl Guides fate store. So you remember I was collecting all those mugs? Well, we got them all out. There were about 200. The girls couldn't believe where they'd all come from. And I was like, well, we've been collecting for a long time. Most of them I've got from people in the local community, and my dad's given me a lot, and my mother-in-law gave me a few, but they couldn't believe that there were so many. But there were some which were like scratched or marked or said things like "to a lovely granddad," which are obviously no good on a fate store because it's for a tombola. So the girls put little sweets and little bits and pieces inside each of the mugs. Then we put them in the roasting bags and put a nice ribbon on them. And they've all got their numbers on. So if you pick out a 5 or a 0, then you're going to win. So that was good. We got all that done Wednesday evening. That would have been a lot of work if me and the other guide leader were doing that at home. But the girls loved doing it all. They got really into it. So I took those the ones that we couldn't have as a tombola item, I took to the charity shop. And when we got to the charity shop and we were offloading it all, bear in mind this is the charity shop that a while ago refused items because they were full. I said to my husband, where's the other black bin bag? And he said, oh, I only put one in the car. So unfortunately we've still got one big black bin bag still in the car. But the good news is I just now put a load more things in it. So that's super. You also see me just tidying around in the bathroom. There were some things on the floor and things just generally looking a little bit untidy and messy. I keep on top of the bathroom, and it's actually because neither me nor my husband use the shower here. So my daughter uses it for the bath. And obviously we use the toilet in here, but otherwise it's not really used. So it's very easy to keep on top of. I also want to replace that strip on the top, just above, you see in the bath there, which is where the screen is. I'd like to replace that because it's marked. So you gave me some tips on one of my strips before, and in the end I got a new strip for the bit which is on the panel for the actual, you can see just on the corner there. I replaced that, but the other bit needs to be replaced. And then you'll see me, I'm quite in the kitchen quite a lot on these videos because I just feel like the kitchen's never ending. It never ever seems to be tidy. I think we just need to get in the habit of always putting things on the right hand side, and no one in the house does that. We need to stack things. We need to put dirty things in the sink with soapy water. It's all about getting into habits, isn't it? Which many of you have said to me, just get into a habit of doing certain things. But at the moment, my habit is getting rid of things from the house. So I am doing well on that. So you know I was doing my 10 item challenge for each room. So I've done that on the dining room. I've done that in the lounge. I've done that in my daughter's room. I've done that in our old bedroom. I've started it in the playroom. So I am getting rid of lots of bits and pieces. And also when I'm out and about places, I see things like today. I saw this lovely white fish vase, like a tail, and it was reduced. And I'm sure in the past I would have thought, oh yes, I really like that. I could see that in my dining room or whatever, and I would have bought it. But instead I just looked at it and thought, that's going to create a lot of dust sitting on that. Something else to clean, something else to sort out. So I think that does change your mindset. Also in the dining room, I can get rid of some more things because I've lost a couple of plants. One plant actually fell out of the pot a while ago. It tipped onto the floor and I put it back and thought it was okay, but it hasn't survived. Another plant hasn't survived, so I'm going to get rid of those two and the pots. So that'll create a bit more space. And in the bathroom, I'm going to get rid of one of those plants, one of those cacti. I don't like the cacti in the yellow pot. So I'm going to put that on my stall. So we're getting quite a big pile for all the things that are going to go on the stall, which I'm pleased about. So the more things on there, the merrier. And the things that I'm getting rid of that I do feel a bit attached to, I'm actually giving to the charity shop, because I know what I will do. Come the sale, I will look at them and think, oh, I'm not sure I do want to get rid of those. And I'll end up keeping them. So I hope you've had a good week. On Thursday, I was doing the election work, which I told you all about. So I was there from 6:30-ish till 10 o'clock. And then I came home and watched the telly elections until 1 in the morning. And then I went to bed, and my husband stayed up until 4. So my husband had been out nearly the whole day. He said he'd got blisters on his feet. He'd been knocking on people's doors, encouraging people to go out and vote. And then Friday, it was quite nice because my morning meeting had been cancelled. So it was quite nice that I didn't have to get up really early and start work really early. So that was good. So I did some work in the morning at home, and then I went into the office in the afternoon, picked my daughter up, and then came home, went to the supermarket and did some tidying in the house. Now I have got some big news for you. Some really big news for you. So you know all about my dilemma with my job. If you're new here and you haven't been following my dilemma with my job, please do watch back some of my old videos, because some of my old videos have hardly got any views. So please do watch them back, and then you'll be able to hear about the whole story. Any case, I submitted that expression of interest, didn't I? Which I didn't really want to do. And a few of you said, well, that's a really, it's a clear message telling you, not to go ahead with it. But I thought I'll fill the expression of interest in. I must have spent about 4 hours on that, because if I'm not going to fill it in unless I do my best. So I put all my dates, I put all my dates for all my certificates and my qualifications and wrote some of my supporting statement. And then I got an email, right? And this is what the email said. Good morning all. Thank you for all the submissions of your expression of interest. So bear in mind I can see all the other people who've now also submitted an expression of interest, which is not very good from a confidential perspective. I appreciate you all want confirmation of your statuses moving forward, and that this is a difficult time. I assure you I'm following a clear timetable of actions to ensure a fair and equitable process for all. The next phase is shortlisting and interviews. I'll be shortlisting on Tuesday next week along with my allocated selection process support manager, where I will then be in a position to arrange interviews. I will be in touch next week to update you all on the interview process. And I thought, you've got to be joking. So I'm going on holiday on the 15th of July. So that will mean there's no way that I can have an interview next week. I've got meetings most days. You know how I don't work Mondays, do I? But I am working Monday. So I'm working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday I've got the guide's fete, and it's my nephew's birthday and my mum's partner's birthday. Sunday, so on the Saturday, I'm celebrating my nephew's birthday. And then the Sunday, that's my mum's partner's birthday because there's a special number. And then we fly on Monday. So I thought that's really going to mean that they'll say to me, well, you'll have the interview when you get back. So how am I going to enjoy my holiday? How am I going to relax when I'm just going to be thinking about the interview, aren't I? And preparing for the interview when I get return. So after much consideration and thought, and I did, my husband was having a little sleep because he'd been up so late with the election work. So I woke him up for a second and just asked him to listen to my email. So I put, thank you for the email. I do understand you must have a process. However, regrettably, I have decided to withdraw my application. And I did, if I'm honest, I did have a little cry about this because I really like this job. I'm incredibly busy at the moment, inside and outside of work, and I just do not have time to prepare for an interview. I go on leave on the 15th of July and I just want to relax and think about my holiday while I'm away, rather than thinking about preparing for an interview when I get back. I also see the names of people who have applied, and I know some need the job financially for their families. For me, this has been a great role, but I do not need the job in the same way that others might. Therefore, based on a number of factors, I think that it's time for me to step back from the role. Thank you for giving me the chance to use my skill set in a different way. I have really loved my time, and I hope I have helped the service in some small way. I do care about my learners, particularly those that are close to completion or who have had many difficulties inside and outside of work. I don't know what notice you need me to work, but once you've had the chance to look at workloads and cover, I can help with handovers or follow a few learners through to their last weeks or months if you need me to. Best wishes. So that was the email that I sent. And within about 30 seconds, she rang me. And I'll let you know the update next time. This is like, for those of you in the United Kingdom, I said to my husband, this is like an episode of Coronation Street. Not quite as exciting though. Which makes me wonder, can you watch Coronation Street in America? Or anywhere else in the world? Or is it only people in the United Kingdom who know what I'm talking about? So now I'm going to go through some of your comments. And do you know, this is the second time I've done this. I've just gone through all your comments. And then when I stopped recording, it hadn't recorded. I can't believe it. I literally talked for about 10 minutes. So Bernadette Smart said, "Hi Emma, I'm really furious on your behalf because of the behaviour of that accountant. That behaviour is totally unacceptable. I would swap accountants immediately. Then I'd report him to whatever association he is affiliated to. Why should you give him your hard-earned money? Before I retired, I was an accountant for many years, and anybody like that would not stand a chance of being employed in my practice." I know, it's so awful, isn't it? It still really upset me, and I haven't quite thought about what to do with it. Someone else did give me a slightly different perspective on it, and I might get to their comment and share that with you. But still, I'm not happy. I'm not happy about it at all. It makes me feel quite bad. So I have contacted somebody that myself and my husband used to go to school with, who's an accountant, not far from us, and he said he would give us a price early part of this week. And I replied and said, "Oh, don't worry, it's not urgent," but he still hasn't sent me anything through. So I have to see what comes of that. But I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go ahead with the current accountant, who is that man's nephew. They work in a partnership together. So I think I have to go ahead with that because I get my business accounts and my self-assessment returns completed by him. And then next year, I'll then move. I just don't think there's going to be enough time, unfortunately. I don't want to give them my money. It's such a shame because the nephew is like a really quite a nice man, but I just cannot believe the behaviour of his uncle. So Janet Gentry says, "Yes, it gets much easier to get rid of items the more you do it. It's like freedom. You get time back. And it saves money as you start looking at new purchases differently." Yes, what I said earlier, absolutely. And not to mention the mental clarity. Clutter does clutter the mind and adds stress. With your daughter getting older and nearing her teens, you may want to consult with her on getting rid of the playroom and converting it to another space. Yeah, I have talked to her about it. She wants like a craft room, or like, you know, a space with like bean bags and things. But she doesn't want to get rid of the toys. So it's a bit of a challenge, really. Laura Mitchell says, "Brooke Howell's comment about putting your daughter's crafting stuff in the dining room was an aha moment for me. I do understand now that all of our suggestions about more storage furniture in the dining room isn't going to work because it's smaller than it looks and you can't block the radiators." Yeah, I mean, that room is quite a good size room for houses in England. But I do feel like I've already got a lot in there. You know, I've got the piano in there, I've got the cabinet in the corner, the table is quite big. So I just don't feel like I can put much more in there. I think she suggested it because there doesn't seem to be any playing in the playroom. You mentioned once about how your daughter likes to be downstairs where you two are, understandably, so brace yourself, I have another wild idea. What if for the next 5 years or so you completely empty out the cabinets on either side of the lounge fireplace and fill it with all the craft projects and supplies and games that will fit? If downstairs is where it's always going to happen, why not embrace the space? However, with that would mean is really decluttering and downsizing her stuff so the rest all fit into the bedroom. I really think the books stored all under the bed would actually work. So now, instead of a playroom that no one can enter, it become your office for Zoom meetings, etc. I love that idea. My husband, he works from home quite a lot, and he moves from the dining room to the lounge, sitting on the sofa or sitting up the dining room table. I often go in the tiny little area in our loft room because I need 2 screens. And if we had that room back, we could actually use that for a study or have a craft table in the corner. That'd be lovely. I'm not sure how she'd feel if I took the room back. The beautiful wardrobe could house items from downstairs that you don't use as much as the crafts. You could even find a pretty cabinet to store your sentimental items and use a beautiful dresser for all the family's office supplies. I can't remember what you store in the lounge cabinets, but one thing that all of the professional organisers agree on is to deliberately store items where they seem to always end up. That's a good point. Maybe you could just take a temporary leave from job number 2, since you seem to want to keep it, so that you could make really big strides. It would be very hard to do all the big things that you have in mind with only snippets of time and energy. Sophia from My Great Challenge, who also works full-time, has a YouTube channel, runs an Etsy shop, and has a husband and 2 teenage sons. Will often take some vacation time, like an entire week, to stay home and do her projects. She's very realistic about how she spends her time. Yes, that is, that's a good idea. The problem is, I get good amount of holiday. My primary job, I get a good allocation of holiday. I'm lucky with the job that I've got. Well, not lucky, I suppose. I've worked hard to have it, but I get a decent amount of holiday, but all of that holiday is taken in the school holidays. And that's one thing that I always said. If I was going to go back to work after I had my daughter, then I wanted to be there in the holidays for her. I wanted to spend that time with her. I just feel like once they're, 18, 19, 20, I can work all through the holidays, can't I? It doesn't really matter. But while she's little, it's important for me to be there. So I don't have any holiday left because I book up all the way through, usually more than a year in advance, in order to cover the school holidays. With job number 2, at the moment it's a 0 hours contract, so I work when I like. With all the changes, I would have no choice but do 0.4 if I stay in that role. 0.4 contract, which is 2 days. But I can do those hours in the evening when I like, when I want. And I don't have to do. So some weeks I could do 3 days and the next week I could do 1 day. So maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe sometimes I just need to book in a Tuesday and just spend that day at home. You've given me lots to think about there. So thank you, Laura. Mira Laxo. Hi, Emma. Have you heard of the decluttering game? You basically declutter 1 item on day 1, 2 items on day 2, 15 items on day 15, etc. until day 30. It amasses to a fair amount come month ends. Just a suggestion. Yeah, I love that. That sounds fun. Have a nice day. I thoroughly enjoyed your video. Enjoy your videos. Oh, thank you. That sounds really good fun. I might do that once I've finished my 10 things from each room. Because I've gone round and some rooms I've taken 20 things. Some rooms 30 things, but every room 10 things. Miranda Friday says, during a waxing moon, I am more motivated to tidy and declutter. As soon as the full moon comes in, I settle. How interesting. It's funny with that, isn't it? I mean, like I said, I'm definitely affected by my hormonal cycle and the things that I can get rid of, or if I feel like I'm clinging on to things. But then also, there's been times in my life where I've felt like a bit out of sorts, and then I go on a walk and I look into the sky and there's a full moon. So strange. So many things we don't really understand. Laura said, oh my goodness, my husband is exactly the same way. Things can be dangling broken for weeks, but as soon as I make him a list, he bangs them out and gets everything done. And you know, a little while ago, as I was sorting around my daughter's room, finding things to get rid of, I saw something that had broken that really upset me. And I so told my husband, and he said, oh, I'll have to go to a DIY shop to get my special glue. So he went back downstairs to watch the football, and he left the broken ornament, and I called and said, oh, please, I just don't want to see it. I just can't see it. It's so upsetting. And then a little while later, he came up, and he'd obviously found the glue and fixed it for me. So that was good. Brooke Howell says, I just had a short come up with in my feed. What I thought I'd tell you about. The woman has a washer dryer set up off her kitchen in what looks like the same size as your pantry. Not sure if you'd be willing to give up your pantry, but then you could have a dishwasher and a tumble dryer. The problem is, where would I put my freezer? That's the thing, where would I put my freezer? I think that I'm going to have to put my fridge in my pantry and put a dishwasher where my fridge is. If we could sort the plumbing out. That's what I'm thinking. Helen Palmer. Where I live, the water quality is terrible. Washing often smells fusty when I take it out of the washer. We don't even drink it and buy bottled water. I've complained about it. I ran the tap and put the bottle to one side. When Severn Trent came to test it, the man wouldn't test the sample I'd previously done. He said I could have put something in it. I got a call to say nothing was wrong with the sample he took and was advised to get a water filter put on my supply tap. That's absolutely shocking. I think I would have insisted, Helen, that he did do the tests, or can you buy a test yourself? You could do that. You could get one of these tests online, and that tests for like the top 40 toxins or something. That's shocking. To say that you could buy your own water filter. Well, that's what you're paying for, isn't it, with Severn Trent? Honestly, some of these companies are beyond a joke. It really is. Chaos Organised says, gosh, you have the same greenhouse as me. The one I just cleaned and sorted out. I've been walking down the South Downs twice this week and signed up for the gym. Wow, well done. I can do one burpee currently, so we'll be practicing those before Tuesday on induction. Also, a big thing for a lady our age, I just went on HRT. I've been getting tireder with you, but getting tireder over recent years and struggling through on determination alone. If anyone in the Emma community is considering HRT, go for it. And for those that have discovered it, congratulations, ladies. We don't have to grind to a halt just because we're granny age. Oh, you're not granny age. I've been delivering leaflets for the elections and getting involved. Tonight I will meet my fellow volunteers. I love volunteering for things. Well done, Chaos Organised, with all your delivering leaflets for the elections. And I asked whether she'd be watching the elections tonight, and she said she missed them. She skipped them and went walking up and down hills. But done my good deeds. The person we were supporting aced it. Well done. That's fantastic. Hi Emma, great job sorting stuff. It's so overwhelming when you have a household to take care of. It's hard work. I was watching Coldplay video from the Glastonbury Festival. Have you ever been there? It looks amazing. So I've been to Glastonbury many, many times. I went as a child and I've been several times as an adult. I've never been to the Glastonbury Festival, but Glastonbury is a really amazing, mystical, spiritual, magical place, and me and my daughter love it. I know if you're Christian, some Christians don't like things like crystals and, you know, some things that they sort of consider alternative. I'm quite open-minded with some of those things. There's a place called Chalice Well, which is lovely. Unfortunately, there has been a bit of an issue recently with Chalice Well. There's been the trustees made a very, very bad decision. They decided to take what to me is Mary and baby Jesus away from a place where people pray, and they moved it under a tree. and they said it, or originally they removed it completely, and then they ended up putting it back, but under a tree where it's getting marked and was not a nice location for it. But so that's kind of been a bit negative for Chalice Well. But before that, Chalice Well is a place that I would definitely say, if you're going to visit Glastonbury, definitely visit. And then of course you've got the Glastonbury Tor, and you've got Stonehenge nearby. But you can be sitting, I can remember one time sitting in Glastonbury town centre and having lunch, and a wizard walks past. There's people on the streets that are doing palm reading and all sorts of things. So I mean, I know people have got different views. A certain thing, I would never have my fortune read, but if someone chooses to do that, then you know that I respect their choice. But yeah, it's an incredible place. Really incredible, and little fairies and all sorts of things they sell. Well, thank you for watching my video. If you've got this far, I very much appreciate your support, kindness, your encouragement, your motivation. You're all doing so well with your own challenges and decluttering and tidying your own house. So super effort from everybody. So well done, all of you. In terms of my challenge, I'm still doing my 10,000 steps a day. I've now got to add 6 days on the end where I wasn't able to do them. And of course, I'm doing my saying no, which I am still saying no to one thing every single day. It might be an item of food, it might be a coffee, it might be something at work, but I'm making a point of doing that every day. So thank you very much for watching my video, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!